Hi, this is Mohammed. Today I'm going to demonstrate network security group. Especially today I'm going to demonstrate inbound network security group rules. So before doing anything, I have to share one image, what we're going to do today. For network security group rules demonstration, I need some resources. I need one resource group. I need one virtual network. I need a two subnet, two servers, and two network security group, and a couple of inbound rules for these network security groups. But the reason I'm going to log in on the portal right now and start building that resources. I go to portal.com, azureportal.com, and from there, I create a resource group at first and give this name as a 16 June resource group. And I put it in the resource group in Central Sweden region. I'm creating this one, validation has been passed, and I create this one. It's already created, and go back to the dashboard. Now I create a virtual network. And this is a create a virtual network on the subscription and with the newly created resource group. I give this name 16 June virtual network. And next IP address, I keep the default IP address, but I didn't keep the default subnet. I remove the subnet and create my subnet. I give this subnet name as subnet 1 and with IP 10.0.1.0/24, and at this one I create another subnet with the name of subnet 2 and with an IP 10.0.2.0/24, and at this one as well. So you can see that this two subnet has been added here, and now I create, click on the create button, and validation has been passed, and I create this virtual network. So virtual networks has been created so far on the way. It might take 1 minute to create this. And now I'm going to create two resource group, but without declaring any rules at the initial stage. I'll declare the initial inbound rule in later. So the virtual network has been created. I go to the resources and make sure that this is up to the mark what I'm expecting. Yeah, this is IP as is 10.0.0.0/16 is okay, and it should have two subnet. I can see this two subnet also has been created. Yes. So I go back to the dashboard of the portal. Now I'm going to create two network resource group. That is need. I click on the network resource group. I click create, and I pick up the resource group here and give a name of the resource NSG1, and create. Validation has been passed. Deployment might take 1 minute. Is ongoing. Yeah, this is done. Go to the resources. You can see this network resource group has been created. If I just give a quick introduction of this one, we'll concentrate on inbound rules, outbound rules. For this demonstration, we focused on inbound rules only. These are the basic rules. We'll create inbound rules later here in this area. So now I go back home on the dashboard and create another network resource group. I create another one. I pick up the resource group name and I give its name NSG2. It will take maybe another 1 minute to deploy this resource group and network security group. If I go to the dashboard and network security group, we can see that our two network security group has been created. Now, I attach these two network security group with the subnets. Go back home, go back to the virtual network, find the network, what we have created so far, find the subnet, select subnet 1, and here you can see network security group is done. We just click on there and pick up the security group 1 for subnet 1 and save. You can see this subnet 1 has been updated with the network security group attachment. Now I'm going to attach subnet 2 with the subnet security group, network security group 2. I click on there and pick up this one and then save. This has been updated. So I go back home. Now, as per the image, I need two servers before building any inbound rules for these subnets. So I create one pub server that is for public interaction mostly, sometime with some RDP port open facility. So first build up the server, then we'll discuss how we can create these inbound rules. So go back to the portal and go back to the virtual machine and click create Azure virtual machine. I pick up the resource group and give this virtual machine that's pop server, this name, and pick up, just for demonstration, Windows 11 version 2. We can pick up Windows different servers, give the username and password. Make some mistake maybe. Now I confirm the licensing. Next disk. I'm not working anything on this side. Now networking. Yeah, make sure that I pick up subnet 1 for this server. And then management. Nothing to do. Monitoring. Just boot diagnostic disable review. Validation has been passed. Now create this one. It might take a couple of minutes to create this virtual machine on subnet 1. Yeah, deployment is ongoing, and it should have only one inbound rule that allows RDP access from public network. So if we have the public IP of this server, we can do RDP from anywhere. So let's go back and create this another server, that is backend server. Go back to the portal. I open another tab and create the second virtual machine, which is backend server. Virtual machines. We create Azure virtual machine. Pick up the resource group, give this name, backend server, and like before, I make it Windows 11 server as well, and give a username and password. Confirm the licensing. Next is nothing to do here. Networking. This one we have to pick up this subnet 2. And the next management, nothing to do. Monitoring, just boot diagnostics. It should be visible because we don't have any storage account at the moment. And now create. The validation process is ongoing. Yeah, now we'll create this one. So it might take a couple of minutes to create this one. Just want to see the deployment process is started or not. Yeah, deployment is ongoing. And now I'll go back to the previous step. We have seen that this virtual machine 1 that is named POP server is already created. Go to the resource and check the situation of this server. This POP server agent machine is not ready yet. It might take a couple of minutes sometime because it is a big imaging issue on backend. But anyway, we can see the public IP address is here of this server, and this private IP is here. And now I go back and see how far the backend server is going on. Okay, let's backend server create in on backend. And I go back to there, POP server, and go back home. Already we have attached network security group 1 with subnet 1, and POP server is one of the machine of subnet 1. We might have a couple of machine in subnet 1, but our inbound rules says that RDP allowed for POP server from public network. So how we can create this inbound rule? I go back to network security group, pick up network security group 1, click inbound rules, and then add. As this is from the public network, it could be anything, any source, any port, and destination should be an IP address that is our POP server's IP address. And the service is we allow RDP. So you pick up the RDP. This allows everything. The protocol is TCP action allow. The priority, we can give a name, number of this priority, but not 100 is not a good way. The industry practice should be leave some gap in between the range, because we have the range of 100 starting from 100 to 496. So I add this one. You can see this network security group rules has been added here. Now I go back and go back to the virtual machines and pick up the POP server and pick up the IP address of this one. And now check the connectivity from remote desktop connection for RDP, because my machine is a public machine. So click on there, then connect. Let's see how it's going. Yeah, connection has been established. So it is asking for username and password of the POP server. We can see this certificate issue comes up, and there. Just minimize this one because this is overriding with the zooms. Anyway, it's logging for the first time on this POP server with RDP protocol from a public network. So I think it is a very straightforward RDP rules that we're implementing here, that we are accessing from public network following the remote from remote public network with NSG rules. Next. I'll do some work from this server, so I just make it ready for that. Okay, so now I close this session. Now I go back to the backend server and see that this is already done. Go to the resources and check the IP and everything is okay or not. We have the public IP and we have the private IP, so that's fine. As the backend server is deployed properly, we just need to create the inbound rules for the backend server. First, if we have a look on the inbound rules for backend server, that is written that RTP allowed for backend server only from POP server. It means we can do RDP to the backend server, but through POP server, nothing else. And another rule is HTTP allowed for backend server from public network. It means if we have HTTP service feature installed on the web server of this backend server, we can we can access this backend server from public network. So what I'll do, I'll create these two rules, and after that I'll demonstrate how I can RDP from POP server to backend server. And after doing that RDP, I'll install the IAS on the backend server and do some update on the backend server IAS web page, and then log out. And then I'll try to access the backend server from a different machine or this machine. So this is that will be a public network. So that will demonstrate the whole scenario of this inbound rules of this backend server. Is it valid and working? So let's create these two rules now. I go back to the portal, go back home, go back network security group. I find the network security group 2 has been here, inbound rules, and I create one rule that is named for the HTTP. I create the first one from any source. It means public network and port. We can create HTTP, but with a specific machine that is on the backend server, that's IP address is 10.0.2.4, and we allowing HTTP. I give it a priority 110 and add this one. So that is done. Now I create another one which allows the RDP from POP server to backend server. It means from specific machine to another specific machine, we are allowing one service. So let's do it. Instead of source any, we have to pick up IP address, and now we have to give the IP private IP address of the specific machine, that is POP server's private IP, and destination also specific, that is backend server public IP, and we're allowing this RDP, and priority is 120. Just check again IP addresses of these two servers with IDP and allow, and then access, and then add. So these two rules has been added here. Now refresh this one and go back home, and then go back virtual machines, and then go back POP server 1, copy public IP, remote access, remote desktop connection. Yes, this one, connect, give a password, Trust the certificate, yes, and then get access. Now I'm accessing the POP server. From here, I would like to remote desktop connection for the backend server with RDP. Now I give the RDP. That's why I give this name of the private IP address of the backend server. Then try to connect. It's user asking for the username and password of the backend server. I give it and asks for the certificate. I say yes. Just to minimize a little bit, so you can really get the feeling that we're really working on the remote servers. Look, this IP address shown here, 10.0.2.4, that is our backend server's IP address. Okay. And the next, accept. Now we can see that NSG 2 one rule has been implemented. That is, we can do RDP from POP server to backend server. Now I'm going to install IAS on the backend server. So for that one, I go to command prompt, cmd, quiz.cpl. It will run the programs, turn on the Windows features. I pick up the IIS services and then OK. And the applying changes. So I'm not doing any editing. So you can have a look how long it takes to do this job. So it has been done. Close this one, close this one, close this command prompt and come back, make it bigger. Go back to go to its browser. It has nothing here right now. Just without data, just sync without data. Let's close this browser. First, I just make some changes in the IIS website. Click here, inetpub, www root. I just make a little change. Initially, this looks like this, and I just need to change a little bit so we can check it out. Open with Paint. Just for simplicity, I just put 1 star example. I'll give a star with white filling, white. Anyway, black doesn't matter. Save this one. Close this one. Open this page. This one. I'm demonstrating this one because I'm going to access this page from public network. So we can make sure that that rules also working, that we can access this web server from public network. Just close this one for the time being. So, but the demonstration is that in this stage that we can install some features of servers from one remote server to another remote server using RDP while NSG working on these 2 servers. So I think this is cool. Anyway, I close this one. So, and this one, and also this session as well, because we already create this session. Close this thing. Yes. Now I copy pop server's address, public IP address. I copy the public IP address of the web server and backend server and paste it here. And you can see this can access the web server, which is installed on the backend server using RDP from pop server. So I think that the rules that pop server can access RDP only to the backend server, and the backend server also have the grant permission to HTTP protocol from the public network. So from the public network, using my computer, I can access the web server's backend server, web server. So I think that's it for this demonstration.